Welcome to the Real Estate Pros Show, where we interview real estate investing professionals from coast to coast, as well as the service providers that serve the real estate investing industry. Our goal is simple: share what's working now to help you improve and scale your business to the next level and meet the pros that can help you get there. Real Estate Pros is powered by Investor Fuel, America's leader in helping real estate investors and professionals build the business you need to live the life you've always dreamed of. Let's start today's show. Property insurance for real estate investors doesn't have to be difficult, but it does need to be there to protect you when you need it. MyInvestorInsurance.com not only provides insurance at 15 to 30% cheaper than traditional agencies, it's built specifically for real estate investors like you. You can set up an account in about 2 minutes, get quotes on properties, turn on and turn off insurance for your fix and flip or rental properties in around 2 minutes without having to talk to anyone directly, all through our portal. There's no better way or faster way to make sure you've got the coverage you need to protect you, and no more lengthy policies either. Once you're set up, you're billed monthly and prorated by the day for however long your policy is active. It's powered by MSI, the third largest independent MGA, with 1.5 million customers and more than $1 billion in cumulative premiums written. Get set up today in about 2 minutes at myinvestorinsurance.com/fuel.
Welcome to the show where we interview the nation's leading real estate entrepreneurs. It's your host, Stephen Schmidt, and I'm here today with Justin Dawson. Justin has been flipping houses for over 25 years. He's been a general contractor for 10 years out of those last 25, and we're going to talk about his wealth of experience within both spaces here and why he thinks every general contractor should be flipping houses for long-term wealth building. So, Justin, we're excited to have you here today. Just keep in mind, everyone, that at Investor Fuel, we help real estate investors, service providers, and real estate entrepreneurs 2 to 5x their businesses to allow them to build the businesses they've always wanted, to allow them to live the lives they've always dreamed of. Justin, with all that being said, welcome to the show. Glad to have you here.
Thank you.
So we didn't have a ton of time to chat before the show, so I'm really excited to have a conversation with you about everything that you have going on. So you've been flipping houses for 25 years, licensed general contractor. Just for all of our sake here, tell us a little bit about your background, what got you into it, and what's gotten you to where you're at today.
So what got me into it was definitely my mother. When we were growing up, after she got, because they bought their first, my mother and my stepfather bought their first house with a VA loan from the Vietnam War in the early 80s. They got divorced a couple years later, but my mother would literally buy a house like we'd move every 2 years. So she'd buy a house, we'd live there for two years, and then she'd sell it. She'd always do the basement. And, after the 2 years, then you don't pay the taxes for like a single person. So I just was always I think my first real estate memory, I was probably 5 years old. So I've just always my mother exposed me to it. It's just kind of what I know, it's just almost like second nature, really.
Yeah. Wow. So you got involved with it when you were a little kid.
Yeah, I would just watch my mother, and I was always around it, and she, and my mother, she taught me how to balance a checkbook. She taught me about houses. She taught me about construction. She showed me a lot about just this business. Maybe not like, hey, I'm going to show you the business so you can do it, but just expose me to it. And then I just kind of gravitated towards it. I was actually a cook first for like 14 years, and I went to culinary school and everything. And then I started buying real estate in my early 20s, and I still cooked up until my late 20s, and then I just kind of got more into real estate, and I was a licensed realtor for 14 years, and I've been a licensed general contractor for 10 years. So yeah, it just kind of morphed. I just kind of morphed into it, It's kind of morphed into it, really.
What had you go off and go to culinary school, become a chef? Like, how did that happen?
I can tell you exactly how that happened. Okay, so like this was, and if I talk too much, then just let me know. But this was actually back in about I was 13 years old, so this was 1986. And like back then, you could get it because you had to be 16 to get a job. But then like back then there wasn't all the digital stuff. So you had your paper birth certificate.
Stop living on an island and join the #1 mastermind in America for professional real estate investors. Investor Fuel is a community of hundreds of the nation's top investors working together to build stronger businesses and better lives. In addition to the amazing community of real estate investors acting as a board of advisors for one another, Investor Fuel members have access to 100% funding on purchase and repairs for our members only, a health insurance program, and benefits and discounts that more than pays for the membership of most of our members, meaning it's actually costing you money to not be a member of Investor Fuel. If you're looking to scale your business and build a business that allows you to live the life of your dreams, please visit investorfuel.com today and book a call with our team.
So what I did is I had the old typewriter and I used whiteout, and I changed the date from 1973 to 1971. So I was 2 or 3 years older. And then I made a copy of it on a Xerox machine with the typed date. And then I got my first job working in restaurants when I was 13, and it was at Barnaby's Steak and Ale.
Oh, kidding.
Yeah. And I mean, so this was at Barnaby's Steak and Ale. It was just like a diner. This was in Seattle because I grew up in Seattle. And so I got a job as a busser. And then one night I can remember it just like as clear as day. I saw the guys on the stove, and they were wearing their fancy chef uniforms, and they were flipping the pans with fire. And I was like 13, and I was like, that's what I want to do. And then I pursued cooking and for the next 5 or 10 years, and that's just what I thought I wanted to do.
Did the company that you work for ever find out that you literally forged your own birth certificate?
No. No.
That is incredible. We just admitted to a federal crime here on the Real Estate Pros podcast.
But I was like 13, so I was a minor. I was actually a minor. So
yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. That's amazing. Oh my goodness. That just goes to show you that you've got a spirit of doing whatever it takes to win.
Or just to survive, really. But yeah, and to win, to survive. But yeah, I mean, just to survive, really, I got to keep it moving,
Why was that just to survive when you were 13? Tell me about that.
It wasn't like, and I think that's more my adult life, because I didn't really want anything when I was a kid, I had a job. Yeah. I started working when I was 10, I always had my own money, I had my little allowance. Like, we weren't rich by any means, but I never wanted for anything as a little kid. I think more, it's kind of become more survival mode as you get older. Like, once you kind of hit that, well, I started having kids like really early. But I mean, once you kind of hit that mid 20s or that 27 and you have a kid or two, you're like in survival mode for the rest of your life. And that's almost how you have to work, because you have a lot of people that are counting on you, and it's just like you have to work in survival mode. I almost think you're more productive. So even if it's not that critical, you should make it that critical,
Having some form of pressure.
Yeah. Yeah.
That makes a ton of sense. So now so when you left cooking, what made you start dabbling in real estate when you were still working as a cook, doing that? What really sparked you doing that? Was that just growing up around it? Was that your mom's influence, or how'd you get back into it?
I mean, so what happened is that I had bought, because I got married when I was 23, and we bought our first house. They were not that expensive. They're like $115,000 or something. And we both had full-time, $10 an hour jobs, which was enough. And so we bought our first house, and then I was refinancing it, and the notary came, they got the traveling notaries, And so the loan officer was kind of a shark, and I got pissed off at him because the situation didn't seem right. Like, even though I didn't really know a whole bunch, it just didn't. And like, it didn't seem right. So then we got done signing, and the loan officer left, and the notary stayed, and his name was Jack LeBeau. I still talk to him to this day, and that was probably 30 some years ago. So he's packing up his bag all slow, and I'm like, why is this guy still here? Like, he's just sitting here, And then he's like, and he was actually a real estate broker. And I'm like 24, and he's like, Justin, you ever thought about getting into real estate? And I'm like,
If you're looking for consistent, high-quality leads, look no further than Investor Machine. Investor Machine isn't just another agency. It's the most sophisticated, data-driven lead generation company on the planet for real estate investors, and serves the role of being not just a lead generator for your business, but a marketing partner that is helping you achieve your goals along the way. Go to investormachine.com to learn more and schedule a call with our team today.
what do you mean? He's like, getting your license. And I'm like, I mean, not really. And he said, so this is what you have to do. So then, long story short, I think 3 months later, I called my mom down to watch the kids for a week, and they had a real estate school that was 40 hours in 1 week, and then you went and you passed your test and you got your license. So I took a week off from work. My mother came and watched the kids, and I went to real estate school for a week, and I got my license probably 3 or 4 months later, and then I just bought a house, and then I had some money, and I bought another house, and sold a house, and bought a house, and sold a house, and that's just what I was doing, you know. And then I actually worked in the restaurants, and I had the real estate license, and I just started buying real estate. And then I got fired New Year's Eve of 2000. I got fired from my waiting job, and I had my 5th kid on the way. I was 27 years old, and that job was all my medical benefits, because by that time I had stopped cooking, and I was waiting tables at the Holiday Inn. I had waited tables there for like 5 years. So I got fired New Year's Eve, and I had my 5th kid on the way. I had just got my real estate license about 7 months previous, and I think I had bought another house by then. And so at that point, it was just like, you're in survival mode. That's what I said. You got 5 kids, you got a wife, you got a house. You don't have a 9 to 5 anymore, but you got a real estate license, and you know enough about construction to maybe build a house. And that's what I knew, and that's what I worked on. You know, so it's just kind of situations. You just morph into situations. But then the cool thing about it is that then I stopped selling real estate in 2013, and I had sold and I'd flipped most of my houses I was doing. And so I wanted to get my contractor license because I wasn't selling real estate anymore. I was able to use my experience and my permits because the state of California, they have and you have to be working in the trades for 4 years, or you have to have proven that you built 12,000 square feet. It's basically 3,000 square feet a year, or like 3,000 square feet equals like 1 year of work. And so I had to prove that I'd built 12,000 square feet. So on my permits, for the sake of selling real estate, just because the square footage is always wrong, my broker said, always make sure you got the right square footage. That's the number one reasons that real estate agents get sued. And so on my building, I took that to heat on every single permit. I put 1,200 square feet, 800 square feet, just like whatever it was. So then when I stopped selling real estate, I found that, and I had more than enough square footage to get my contractor's license. So I just took what I had learned and got a contractor's license, and then I got my contractor license 2 years later, So now I'm working as like a general contractor. So it's just like everything just kind of morphs and comes together in a weird sort of way, kind of the more that life kind of goes. It just kind of, you don't even know what you're doing. You don't even know what you're doing for half the time, but the dots always connect themselves, It's like life's amazing.
Yeah, 100%. And it's interesting because from your experience, and maybe you think differently, but I think of like realtors aren't really in real estate. They're selling other people's real estate, right?
Right.
So they're in it to an extent, you know what I mean?
Right.
But like, what made you decide to get out of like selling other people's houses and like actually get into it for yourself and doing your own properties, flipping your own properties, etc.? What was that? When was that point where you were like, man, I'm gonna have a better career doing this portion of this niche versus like just selling other people's stuff?
Well, like I mean, like real estate, I always did real estate and flipped houses kind of at like the same time. So I kind of needed them.
Oh, really?
Both. Yeah. So actually, and like back in the day, and I'd put my construction sign and my listing sign in in the window. So I'd be the general contractor and the contractor with two different company signs in the window, but it was both me, you know.
If you're a new or newer real estate investor looking to launch or grow your real estate investing business, please check out Investor Fuel Club. It's a coaching community, but unlike anything you've ever seen before. And you can actually partner with members of our mastermind from coast to coast on deals right in your market. There's no better opportunity to build a consistent business than to literally partner with pros to help you avoid costly mistakes, avoid the need for capital to do deals, and help you eliminate your fears as you're starting your business. Learn more about Investor Fuel Club at investorfuel.com/club.
So I actually did that for a long time. And then due to some extenuating circumstances, and I had to give up my license in April of 2013 or 2014. And then at that point, I said, well, let me get my contractor license. And that's what I did, you know. So.
Wow. So adapting and overcoming.
Yeah, you just constantly adapt, you know. You just have to stick and move, you know. You stick and move, and you're going to get knocked down a couple times, but, you know.
So what are some of the types, what are your favorite types of projects to get into now?
I just kind of discovered this but I actually, because I'm working on 4 flips right now, and very little client jobs, just because things kind of shift. So I was more in client jobs a year ago and less in my own flips. Now I'm more in flips and less in client jobs. But the last 2 deals that I found, which are turning out to be really good deals, were deals with code compliance issues and red tags and issues with the city of Oakland, because nobody wants to deal with that. Well, this is the city of Oakland, but just kind of those hard paperwork buildings, because nobody wants to deal with that. And I've gotten some really good deals on both of them. It's a lot of work to fix, but that's another skill I've learned over the years, is doing paperwork and getting the permits. So that stuff doesn't scare me. So for instance, on the one, I got 4, but one of them has actually went into contract last week, but I bought that one December 31st of 2024. So New Year's Eve, basically. And it was on the market for more than a year. And this is the Bay Area. So properties sell quick, you know, but they had red tags and code compliance in the city of Oakland, and nobody wanted to deal with it. So they want $900. I offered them $750 for it. And then I ended up getting it for just under $8. So I bought it this December 31st. I just put it back on the market. I got the whole building done in 11 weeks. It cost me $200,000, but I got the whole job done in 11 weeks, and I cleared the permits and did everything I was supposed to do. It just went into contract 5 days ago, after 5 days on the market, and that went on the contract for 1.3, and it's supposed to close in 14 days. Whether it will or whether it won't, but if it does, that's 120 days and $250,000 per, you know, that I'll probably make after I close escrow, you know. And then the other one that I bought was the exact same situation, but it was worse, because a lot of investors, they don't want to deal with foundations, they don't want to deal with structural, they don't want to deal with paperwork. So this building that I bought actually was up on blocks for 10 years. It was actually almost falling off the blocks because the house was getting so heavy, and the blocks were getting ready to crumble. This whole house was going to fall down the hill. But it was the same situation. This property had been on the market for more than a year, and this is a nice part of Oakland. This is really nice. It's high-end property. So it had been market for, I think they wanted $850, and I was like, I'll give you $450 for it. You know, and this was a bank, so I'm like, they don't care anyway. But they came back and we agreed at $500. But on that one, I'm working on it now. But I spent $500 on the purchase. I'll spend $500 on the remodel. I got the permits. The permits cost me $25,000, but I got the permits. That place I'll have done in June. Hopefully I'll have done in June. But that place is probably comping out at 1.8 to 2.3. So off that one flip that nobody else wanted, because they don't want to deal with the foundation, they don't want to deal with the paperwork, they don't want to deal with all the hard stuff, I'm probably going to say at least $500,000 off that property, if not more. But I'm being conservative, you know. So in short, my favorite properties are the ones that nobody wants, you know, because they don't want to do the work. You know, if people want the put lipstick on a pig type flips, and
Yeah,
be out
for
of there in a
sure.
week, which is great, but you can make more money off these more challenging ones if that's something that you're willing to do, but that's not for everybody. So those are my
Right.
favorite
Well,
flips. Those,
especially people that don't have that experience, like there's just so much there that you being
hmm
able to have it in house as well and not be paying a 40%,
hmm
profit upcharge comparatively, you're actually able to cut out quite a bit of the risk to yourself there because you're doing it all yourself, right? So
Right.
that's really interesting. Wow. So do you typically try to do larger projects like that and do less of them, or do you about how many deals do you generally get into in like a year's time?
I mean, I'm honestly the last 4 years I've kind of been more on the general contracting side, and I've been doing like maybe one. I think I did two last year. I think I did two the year before. So I've only been doing about one or two up until this year, where I think I'm going to probably get four done this year. Um, I'd like to maybe, I don't know, and I think I might want to do like a big development or something. I think I'm definitely leaning more towards the side of new construction, because I really think that new construction you can really control your costs better, and I think that you can get them done quicker. And I think new construction is where it's at. And plus, like, I know in Oakland, but probably in lots of places, and like across the country, like these houses are pushing 100 years old, And I know they're built well, but it's like by the time you fix a lot of this stuff with these old houses, it's just almost becomes you might as well build new. So and it's and you can control the cost, because with those old houses, once you open up the walls, it's like open up a Christmas present, man. You never know what's behind those things.
Yeah, for
You can
sure.
never know. I
No, that
mean, even on this last flip that I got done in like 11 weeks, like we opened up the back wall to take the decks off, and the whole back wall was rotten. That was behind 3 layers of siding. So, and that added a month to the project,
right.
So new, new construction for time and cost management is definitely the direction that I think I want to go in after I get these 4 flips done that I'm working on now. And I don't have to
Yeah,
spend
no,
as
that
much
makes
time
sense.
on the job either. Mhm.
Sure, totally. What's got you wanting to flip more properties this year than the past few years?
It got really slow on the construction side, and I had some money from these other jobs that I was able to put together, and I was able to just buy these 3 houses real quick, because I knew my jobs were getting basically drying up to nothing. They're picking back up now, but I'm waiting for permits on like a lot of stuff, and there's like always the delays. So basically, it just kind of it's the same thing. Like life just kind of morphs. I mean, I've been wanting to just do what I'm doing now for the last 5 years, like really just go back to working on my own houses, because that's what I did initially. And like and like the house flipping is like what's and like house flipping, and I always hope to make some money, but like the house flipping is like freedom. Like it's so much. I just feel like complete when I'm flipping a house. I don't have to. Doing it for other people is cool, and I love my clients and I appreciate them and everything. But it's like I don't have. I'm the only one that's making decisions, and I can get them done as quickly as I want. I don't have to wait. Like I can just flow. I just feel so much pure joy when I'm flipping houses. It's almost like addictive. It's almost like an adrenaline rush. Honestly, it's
For
almost like
sure.
an
Yeah, I
adrenaline
mean
rush.
that is one of the things that gets us hooked, isn't it? What so how many like if you were in an ideal world, like how many would you do every year? Would you just do that or would you still do contracting? Do you like contracting enough to keep doing it?
No, that's a big fat no. No, I know. I
Really?
don't. I mean, and really, like, I never wanted to be a general contractor. It was just circumstance that I had to get my general contracting license, because that's what I was qualified to do. I
Sure.
mean, and the only reason that I kind of became my own general contractor was because the contractors that I hired when I first started would always rip my head off, and like they talk bad about contractors, they talk bad about attorneys, but the stuff they talk about contractors, like even though I am and like even though I am one, like it's true. There's a lot of sharks out here, man, and then it's just like I didn't want to be that shark. So I'm like, you know, I guess I could be a general contractor. I just won't be like everybody else because I didn't like general contractors before I came one, honestly.
Yeah, for sure. Well, Justin, thanks so much for being here today. If people want to learn more about you, or they would like to go and see how they could connect for more, what's the best place to find you?
So my Instagram is probably the best one. That's Dawson Family Farms, and that's the same as my TikTok, and my Facebook is just Justin Dawson. I don't really post there too much, but just Instagram is probably where I post the most. Dawson Family Farms, all one word, all lowercase.
Awesome. And if you had to give just one last piece of advice for anybody that's maybe getting started or is thinking about doing this, what would that be if you were to give one last piece of advice?
It's like you mean like as far as flipping houses?
Yeah, as far as like flipping houses, maybe they're considering getting their general contractor's license to do that in tandem to it. What would you tell somebody that's just getting started?
I would say I'd probably say try to flip a house first if you could, because that was my training ground for general contracting. So I would definitely say buy a piece of real estate and fix it and be involved. That's a lot of things that I see a lot of I see a lot of people that just start the flipping houses or doing different types of business, but definitely if you're going to get into the construction side, like be involved. Like you can hire people, but be there every day and ask questions and really make an effort to learn about construction, or you're never going to make any money house flipping. So that's my piece of advice.
Right. Awesome. Well, thanks again so much for being here, and everybody go connect more with Justin at Dawson Family Farms on Instagram. We appreciate you being here today, and I hope that all of you enjoyed the show. We'll see you on the next episode.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks for joining us for today's Real Estate Pros Show. You can learn more about the amazing benefits of the Investor Fuel Mastermind community, including surrounding yourself with hundreds of other rock stars, 100% financing for your deals, and members-only discounts from vendors you're likely already using that, as a member of Investor Fuel, will save you more than the cost of your membership. Visit investorfuel.com to learn more. If you're interested in joining us as a guest of this show, please visit investorfuel.com/pros to apply. You can also check the show notes for access to free resources, how to get access to world-class lead generation, and much more. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss another episode. Have a great day. We'll see you on the next show.